and welcome to this episode of Unboxing Women, where we explore why women in business are often called such a bitch. My name is Maika Rose, and with me is my friend Rexx, and we are both independent recording artists and singer-songwriters based in Europe. You can listen to us on our YouTube channel and on your favorite podcast platform. So we have a special guest with us today. Her name is Mandy Neukirchner, and she is a jazz guitarist and host of the Bebop Mädchen podcast from Germany. So, Mandy, why don't you introduce yourself and your podcast a little bit?
Nice to be here. It's for me, it's the first time to be in an English spoken podcast because my podcast is in German language. And in this podcast, I talk about feminism stuff in music and in general. I sometimes have guests and I talk with them about different topics like stage fright, or sometimes also like feminism stuff, or like how to eat healthy when you have a stressed life like a musician. And it's like the podcast is about career stuff and also about the life around the career, because as a musician, the most time you have much things to do and you don't have time to relax and to do the stuff around you have to do. And therefore, I think, I hope that the musicians who listen to the podcast can get some tips and tricks to make the life a little bit easier. Yeah.
Yeah, that sounds awesome. That sounds like kind of a big bag of music-filled goodies, basically.
Yes, yes.
Yeah, amazing.
So, Mandy, you're also a guitarist?
Yeah. Yeah, I play jazz guitar. Yeah.
Jazz guitar. Okay. Mm-hmm. And how did you get into this?
I started really, really late by playing jazz guitar. It was not like I'm like 5 years old. I was 16 when I started playing the guitar. And I started like everybody, like playing songs and checking some easy chords to play. And my first guitar teacher, he was really into jazz and bossa nova. And with him, when I was like, my technique was good enough, we do some jazz. And so I get into jazz, and I have a really hard Joe Pass time when I only listen to that records from him. And that's also because I bought me a Gibson that looks a little bit like the guitar from Joe Pass, because I was a little fan. Yeah. And then I also had a little Charlie Parker episode where I only listened to that records. And it was really funny because at this time I had a boyfriend, and he said like, "Oh, you're only listening to Charlie Parker. Don't listen too much to Charlie Parker." And so I get into jazz and playing jazz guitar, because jazz guitar or guitar for the beginners, learning guitar is not so hard because you can easily learn like songs and do like singing and playing guitar at the same time. But when you go into jazz, sometimes it's really, really hard because the people think like guitar is like piano, but there are two different instruments where you need a different technique. And on the guitar, I have only 4 fingers to play, and on the piano, I have 10. So that's a really, really, really big different thing.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And why? Walk me through this. Why did you decide at 16 to pick up a guitar and to start playing guitar?
That's a really good question. I think I talk with my girlfriends about playing guitar, and one of my girlfriends was really into the Ramones. I don't know if you know this band.
Yeah.
And she was really into that. And then I started listening to Beatles stuff. Also in our lessons, we hear Beatles songs and talk about Beatles, and I was really into Beatles. And with Beatles, that was before I go into jazz. I listened to that kind of music, and it was really funny because my girlfriend was really into Ramones and things like that. And she always say, the Beatles are not a good band and they are not hard enough. And so, yeah.
But does that mean, so you were already at music school, or how should I interpret?
No. That was on my school, on my regular school.
Oh, okay,
yeah,
I see.
So
all right.
We don't really do, well, I guess we do music school, but not that much in Germany. So we have just like, I remember having the Beatles in music a lot.
Yeah.
Sorry, something Yes, some phone is ringing.
There's a phone.
Yeah, I think it was mine. I think the problem is I have like a phone that is standing in the room. It's not a mobile phone.
Oh,
and so I can't
you have
mute it.
like a fixed phone.
You have a landline. I have a landline,
landline.
but I didn't. I haven't attached it, and nobody knows the numbers.
Yeah, I got it from my parents. My dad said it's very, very important to have, and I only use it when I talk with my parents.
Oh, well, there you go. You can call your parents back later.
Yes.
Yeah.
So I was wondering. So you're a jazz guitarist, and did you then after school go to a music school or something to actually learn to become a jazz guitarist, or did you just do it all on yourself?
I do it on myself with like having some lessons from the people I want to learn something from.
Mm-hmm.
Wow. And what was people's reaction? Because jazz guitarist is very, very specific. So what did you say to people? I'm going to become a jazz guitarist, or were you, I'm learning to be one? How did people react?
I often get some really strange reactions because when I go to jam sessions or something like that, the people think that because I'm a girl, I'm a singer. I don't want to blame like singers are not musicians, because there is a talk that is like singers and musicians. That is, I don't think that is like that. But when you're a woman and you go to a session, the people think that you're a singer the most time, and they're really, really. They think it's a little bit strange for women playing guitar, because there are not many. We have Emily Remler in the history of jazz, but the other people are jazz
Not
guitarists women.
Yeah. You see that a lot with all the different instruments, though. You don't see a lot of female instrumentalists. And we were talking about this in one of our first podcast episodes, I think, about where have all the women gone in just instrumentalism. It's really a shame. So that kind of comes to the next question. Do you have female colleagues? Have you kind of built up a network of female colleagues, or what happened there?
I knew like 2 or 3 other female jazz guitarists.
Wow.
When I was in Berlin, I'm searching for people to play with, and I look at some pages where people are searching for other musicians, and there were only boys. And I write them, and often they ask me going to cinema or go out for a date. And it was like a really, really cliche. Yeah. And then I think, okay, it doesn't work. And I started for myself searching for people, and there I found one girl who's doing jazz guitar, but there are not so many.
No, I bet. And what about, rewind. So these guys who put an ad in a paper to find a guitarist, when you react to that ad, they think it's to go out with them?
Yeah, a little bit like that. They asked me, I asked them to play together, and they asked, all right, first maybe go out for a coffee or go out to cinema. And I think, so sorry, but I'm asking to play and not for a date. So.
And not to fuck you. Hello.
Yeah.
Jesus Christ. Yeah. I've had, when I was looking for, oh shoot, I need to go get my cable. All right, I'll finish this for a second. Yeah. My charger. When I was looking for bands, when I came back to Hamburg, oftentimes you'd be like, let's get to know each other first, so that it's not just running into like this unknown place, obscure practice place somewhere in like probably somewhere where nobody lives anymore, because it's just like dark and grungy and whatever. So I get that kind of, but I don't get the I'm responding to your advertisement, and then you what?
Not the cinema.
Yeah.
Doesn't make any sense. Okay. So how do people at gigs react to you as a musician? We've talked about how you kind of get reactions at jam sessions, but when you actually go out for a gig, what happens? What's kind of the scenario there?
I often have the feeling that some people aren't listen. They only look at a woman as playing guitar. And I often get some reactions like, oh, nice outfit. Oh, you look nice on stage. And then you think, yeah, but you listen to what I have played, or you only look at me like an object to date or to flirt with. And when I met other musicians, female musicians, the most time they think it's very, very cool to see a girl on a jazz guitar. There, it's different. It depends if they're a man or woman, and if they have been seen other guitar. Yeah.
That's I mean, it's kind of another guest of ours said that when she came into a bar for a gig with her guitar, she would get a lot of jabs from men. Obviously, this is at a bar, so people have been drinking already. But a lot of jabs saying, "Oh, are you going to play that?" You know, or are you just like carrying that around?
Where's your boyfriend?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So, are you carrying that for your boyfriend who's going to play guitar? Because it's just when a guy walks in with a guitar, oh, he's a musician, and you know he's a singer-songwriter, and he's going to play the guitar. But when a woman walks in, it's not, you know, sure that she's the one who owns the guitar or can even play it. And I think that's a bit sad. Do you get reactions like that as well, even before you've started playing?
That they don't think that I'm going to play the guitar?
Yeah.
Also on jam sessions. Yeah, and on jam sessions, it's the same. When you go and pick the guitar, they're like, you going to play the guitar? No.
What?
Yeah.
Oh my God, that's so awful. Why do they do that?
I don't know, because I think they don't see it. So it's for them it's new, and they think like it can't be, you know? Maybe
women can't play the guitar. Their brains can't handle it.
Yeah, also
their fingers are too small and soft.
On Instagram, I see it too, because there are a lot of guitarists on Instagram, but I don't see a lot of, especially electric guitarists, that are women on Instagram.
Yeah, right.
There are only a few.
Yeah, true.
Yeah,
it's interesting.
Where does that come from? It's just so interesting. Where does that notion come from that women can't play instruments? It's really weird. Where I don't know where that would.
I think like when you see jazz, you have the big bands from the history, and the instruments are played by men, and the singer, like Ella Fitzgerald, is like a woman, but the instruments were played from men. And with the electric guitar, I think you have that kind of rock and metal, and so it's really rough and really hard, and you have many technical stuff like the pedals, and it's not like a woman is. A woman isn't rough or hard or into technique.
Or technically
women are soft.
Yeah.
Women are soft and nice and cute, but that is not like the electric guitars. It's a really, really tough instrument.
Yeah.
And the same as, I think, with drums and the bass.
Yeah.
Because sorry.
No, go ahead.
No, go ahead.
On the saxophone, I see sometimes women. On the trumpet, I know only one woman. Yeah.
Violins.
Yeah.
Violins and
violins
jazz
and harpists.
Yeah.
And classic guitar. When you have like people who do classical stuff like Bach and something like that, there are also women. But on the electric guitar,
Yeah. No, I actually, the first guitar I learnt, I don't play very well, but I do play guitar a little bit, and I wanted to start with electric guitar, and everybody was like, no, start with acoustic, because otherwise you don't learn it properly, and blah, blah, blah. And I was like, no, I want to start with the electric guitar. I did at some point switch to the acoustic, but I don't know. I think what's interesting to see, in different languages it works differently. We've talked about this before, but in German, guitarist is still a male noun, and Schlagzeuger also male noun. You can have the female versions of it, but basically, in general, you just say, or bassist, also male. I remember my mum telling me something recently where when we were children, we asked her how her friend could be a lawyer because lawyer, the name in the noun in German is male, and she was a woman. And we were like, but how does that work? And that's language subtly kind of creeping into your perception from a young age. And I think it's astounding how that actually kind of perpetuates through that, because then women also might not choose to become instrumentalists because they don't see it. The language is telling them that's not what they do. So maybe that plays a role as well.
Yeah.
But it is funny because Gitarre is female.
It's true. Yeah.
Yeah.
Ha. That's interesting.
Yeah.
And you have a podcast, Bebop Mädchen. And it's also about so women and gender related issues in general. You were saying, how did you start that? When did you start doing the podcast?
I was studying it in November last year, and I thinking a lot about the title. At first, I have like musician life, and then I think about to get something catchy. And I think bebop is a really, really male-dominated music because Charlie Parker, Dizzy Gillespie, they are all men. And Mädchen is like a girl, like sweet. And so there you see the difference, that because bebop and Mädchen is like, there's no connection, because in the bebop history, you don't have any women, only Ella Fitzgerald. But she was a singer, but you don't have anyone on the instrument who do like the bebop stuff.
That's really cool. Yeah, that's well thought out.
Yeah,
and interesting.
Yeah, so you have guests on the show as well. Tell us a bit more about what kind of guests you invite.
I sometimes invite like musicians to talk with them about their lifestyle, or maybe about COVID-19, how they get on, because I think at the moment it's really, really hard for musicians because there aren't many gigs or something like that, and you can do live streams, but there are so many doing like live streams and also get into Instagram to get a little bit bigger on Instagram. But I think at the moment it's really, really hard. So that's a topic that I think is very, very interesting. Also like the feminism stuff, to talk with other female musicians or to talk with people who are into feminism, or also to talk about self-love. I have an episode where I talk with a other podcaster about self-love and self-care, because I think as a musician, you're into doubt because you think you don't play good enough, especially maybe as a female musician when you're on an instrument, because you see only men, and when you get into a room and you see all the men and you think, okay, I have to play twice times better than them.
Yeah.
Because otherwise they only look at me, my face, my hair, my dress, or something like that. And so at the beginning, I also was really, really shy when I go on playing. When I go to jam sessions, I do my amplifier like really, 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 really. You don't hear anything sometimes, because I think like, okay, what are the people are going to think? Because here on the session are only male musicians and only some female singers, but not so many women on instruments.
I think I don't know how everybody else reacts, but I think from what I've seen so far, the people in the audience are usually then like, ooh, finally a girl. Like, yes, you also get the kind of the people who are like, well, she's not going to be able to play and blah, 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 blah. Yeah. But I think it's changing. I think it is. I know all of my friends. I mean, I know I live in a specific bubble. So it's more changing what's outside the bubble. But in my bubble, people would be like, wow, that's so cool.
Yeah. I mean, a female musician it's like a novelty, you know? I mean, to me, it's, you know, you had in the 80s and the 90s, you had like, the Bangles, which was, a whole, you know, a completely female band. And there's like a bunch that came out then, that, you know, had like the drummer and the guitarist and the bassist, and they were all female. And when I see, you know, a female musician on stage with like a very well-known act now, it's like, yes, you know, we did it. We're there on the stage.
We're there.
Yeah.
And
it's like you're there as well.
It's it's really I really, because then I'm looking like, oh my God, you know, what is she doing? How is she, you know, how is she doing all this? And she must be really good to be there. And you know, it's I think it's really fun to always see a female musician. I don't know if you guys know this, but Michael Jackson used to work with a female bassist a lot. Yeah. And among other people, of course, but yeah, there was this one, she was Greek, but she's very, very well known in the industry. She's one of the top bassists, and so yes, she's a woman.
Yeah. I think it really is kind of, you see them and they're like, oh my God, we're there, like we made it, and it's more than just them making it, although that is awesome in and of itself. I think it's also just kind of, we're getting there.
It's like, ooh, it's a girl. Yay.
Yes.
Yeah.
And you think like, oh, that could be me, right?
Yeah. Yeah. When I go to concerts, I'm happy when I see a woman on stage playing an instrument. Yeah. Yeah. And also maybe when I see a woman and she isn't dressed like so sexy, because I've been to a Kruan Bin. I don't know if you know the band. They're like a psychedelic trio, and I've seen them in Leipzig. And at the end, this is a female bassist, so it's really cool that they have a female bass player, and she comes with an outfit that is, she don't have much things on. And I was like, oh no, why at the end you take these fucking clothes? Because the guitarist and her, she going out from stage and coming back, and she's coming at first. And I think, oh, maybe the guitarist also take it. So it's a little bit joking that he's also, but he has the same outfit. And I was like, oh no. So, yeah.
Yeah, well, I don't know. I'm an artist, performer, singer. I'm the singer. I'm the singer, and I like funky outfits and, you know, sexy stuff and whatever. And, you know, sometimes it's just, it's not, well, I like going over the top, because I don't, you know, I'm not, oh, you know, I just want to be pretty and it's going to be nice. And, you know, I wear like corsets with spikes on them and, you know, crazy boots, also spikes and like glitter and stuff. And it's just maybe to prove a point and to say, okay, you know, you expected this, I'm giving you this, and now can I fucking sing, please? Leave me alone out with this. You know, you can look at my boobs, but please let me sing.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's, you can, like, people can wear whatever they want. I think it's more about you have, as a band, you have a specific image. And if the woman is the only one who pokes out of that because maybe she feels like she has to dress sexy, then that is something I get annoyed with. Yeah. So it's kind of like,
well, if she wants to wear what she's wearing, then
tackle.
I mean, why not? That, you know, I mean, I could go on stage being a little bit more. To me, it's, you know, I don't want to use the word dull, but because I'm very, very colorful, and I want stuff to be very, very creative and very, very in your face. So that, you know, that's basically the thing that I do. But yeah, does that take away from the art? Well, I think that it's a big part of what I do. You know, I wouldn't feel comfortable actually wearing just like a jeans and a t-shirt. I actually wouldn't feel comfortable.
That's not your stage persona.
Because it's not me. Yeah, exactly. So yeah, I guess it depends on the style you're going for. There are a lot of rock bands, like glam rock, chick bands, who have like the craziest outfits and who are also like a completely female band. So I think that's really cool as well to watch. It's not really my kind of music, but I know that there are a lot of female bands in glam rock.
That is also really sad that I thinking I can't wear that kind of clothes because then the people are thinking, oh, she's selling her like a woman.
I see.
So because for a man, he can wear whatever he wants. He don't have that like that he thinks, I can't wear this because then the people thinking I'm like somebody or like a man the people expected that I am.
Yeah. Well, still, I mean, the special
over-sexualization, I think, of women, really. I mean, because if a man takes his shirt off for a performance, for instance, which, again, we can't do because apparently women's nipples are different than men's nipples. There you go.
The nipple issue.
Yes, the nipple issue. But if a man takes his shirt off for a performance, I mean,
they're like,
it depends on
he's just
whether or not he's good looking, or or he's just
on
warm,
stage. It's just
and it's just like and they can do that, whatever. And then if a woman's there wearing something sexy or something tight or something short or whatever, then it's just like.
Immediately, it's like she wants to grab the attention. Well, basically that's what I do. Yeah, because I want to grab your attention.
But that's you using that, right?
Yes,
but it's more like it's more changing people's perception based on gender, right? Because it's like, why should it be different? It's not like women don't have any sexual urges either. It's not like men have the monopoly of, I like sex, right? So it's not like the other gender is then suddenly you can't make the argument, men are just more sexually focused, because it's not true, right? It's just I like to see men as well. It doesn't make me go and sexualize them though.
No, exactly. Yeah.
So it's just kind of it's a weird concept.
But it is shown in films and series as well. That's I think the problem because you see it everywhere when you see like advertising or something like that. It's like you see it all around, and therefore I think it's really deep in ourselves and in our thinking.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Which brings us to the question, have you ever been called such a bitch by somebody?
Have you been called a bitch?
Why?
I have sometimes had the problem that when I go on a gig, there was the man it was every time it was a man, therefore I say it was the man who do technique.
The sound guy.
Yeah, the sound guy. And the sound guy often sings.
We've had a lot of conversation about sound guys on here.
The sound guy knows my sound, but it is my sound and not the sound of the sound guy. So on guitar you have many things that you can change with the sound. And I often, when I go on stage and you have the sound check, often you also have the problem that you don't have a monitor when you're a guitarist because the people are thinking you have an amplifier, so you don't need a monitor. So I often was the only person who don't have a monitor. And then I need my amplifier to get a good sound. And he was like, okay, do it like that and do it like that. Or if I have a monitor or something, sometimes he's saying, okay, I do it like that and that and that. And I was like, okay, sorry, it is my sound, not yours. And I have one gig where I said to the sound guy, it would be really nice if I can choose my sound and talk a little bit with him. And after this gig, my band leader tells me, she's also a woman. She was a woman, and she tells me, like, don't do it one more time. So don't complain at the sound guy. And I try it to be very, very nice. I don't go like, oh, you're doing it wrong and I hate you and fuck you. I don't do it like that.
Mm.
That's weird, yeah, because you're in charge of your own sound. He should just do the mix and like the volume and stuff, but like the actual what you sound like has nothing to do with him, basically.
No.
So yeah, that's really weird that he would say, oh, just, make yourself sound like this guitar or that guitar or whatever. That's not
it's
his,
insane.
That's not his choice. Yeah, I mean, and it's really weird that your singer would then say, I understand it because the sound guy is obviously he has the power. He has the power to make or break you. And it's, some of them are very arrogant about that and they really know this and they're like, oh, yeah, I'm king here, and they're like, ooh, but it's a collaboration. You're both working towards giving your audience, the audience who is paying to be there to listen to you, to give them the best experience. So it's more of a collaboration while they're thinking, sometimes I have the impression that they're thinking that it's more a competition between the band and the sound guy. Or certain members of the band. I've had that impression as well. And so some of these people have called you a bitch, like in your face.
No, but they don't take me seriously, and that's sometimes harder than if somebody say to you, "You're a bitch, I don't like something." I think that is sometimes nicer than if somebody do like things that are not really nice and you fear that they don't respect you.
Yeah, absolutely.
I think that is much harder.
Yeah. Oh, definitely.
Yeah. It's also, the term bitch doesn't really translate that well in German. You can say bitch in German as well, but it's kind of not really used by the type of people who would then use it.
How would you say bitch in German?
I don't know. Do you have one, Mandy?
Schlampe?
Oh, but that's slut. Yeah. But it goes more in that direction, really. And you wouldn't use that in that way. I think you'd use words like herrisch, which is actually, funny enough, Herr is man. So it's basically mannish, but in a way that is like lording over people, like herrisch. Or you'd say, she's being difficult, or she's a diva, or stuff like that. So you'd have all these kind of things with negative connotations similar to bitch, but it's not the actual term.
I see. Yeah, in Flemish we do have a word for bitch, a direct translation. It's trut. 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 If you're being a trut, you're a bitch, basically.
It sounds like trout.
It does sound like trout,
but
with a U.
It sounds so cute, though.
It sounds cute. Well, you don't want them to say it to you.
Okay. I'd probably laugh, though, because I'd be like, oh, that's so cute. So, Mandy, do you have any projects right now that you want to talk about? Anything interesting going on in your career life?
I have a project with a saxophonist, but now with Corona, I have my biggest project is the podcast, and also doing a lot of stuff on Instagram and checking out what happens on Instagram, and maybe also changing the perspective the people have seeing a female electric guitarist, because most of them on Instagram are really sexy and they show themselves as like some objects or subjects to look at them. And also for jazz, you don't have much female guitarists. So I think maybe that at the moment is the biggest platform in Corona to get it changed also for the gender stuff.
Right.
Yeah.
That sounds awesome. Yeah.
Yeah.
I've seen a couple of your reels. They're really funny.
Thank you.
I wanted to ask you one last question. What would you like to tell any woman starting out in the music industry right now?
Don't be shy. Trust in yourself and be brave when you go on stage. And don't think too much about what the people are thinking about you. And take yourself as a musician, not as a female musician, as a musician.
As equal to the men.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yes. Nice.
Right. Well, do you have any other questions, Maika?
I don't think so. I think we covered pretty much everything.
Well, then that's all for today. I want to thank you for tuning into Unboxing Women. Be sure to connect with us on our socials, which you can find in the show notes. Send us a DM or let us know your personal experiences with the hashtag #SuchABitch. Today's guest has been Mandy from Bebop Mädchen. Thank you again, Mandy, for coming on the show. It was great to have you.
Thanks.
All the links to Mandy's projects will be shown in the show notes, so be sure to check them all out. And don't forget to support your favorite artists through merch or donations. My name is Dana Rexx, and I've been chatting with Maika Rose and Mandy. This is a bi-weekly show, and we will be back for you in 2 weeks' time, same place. Bye.
Bye.
Bye.